Hi, my name is Chloe Webb. I'm a third-year PhD student in psychology, and my research is to do with righteous indignation, moral self-enhancement, and social action. So essentially what I'm looking at is the tendency for people to point a moral finger at those who have committed a moral transgression and thus feel better about themselves, and whether this relationship has any impact on their desire to engage in social action to kind of repair that injustice.
My name is Sahin, and I am a third-year PhD student at University of Southampton Law School. I am specializing in maritime law. My research focuses on green shipping transition and maritime decarbonization. I am exploring a contractual solution that aims to bridge the gap between environmental goals of shipping and commercial realities of the industry. I do this through the lens of private governance theory, which aims to examine how non-state regulations and private agreements can enhance the green shipping transition. And in addition to my research, I also work as a policy associate in public policy Southampton.
So in 2021, I applied for the Policy Associate Scheme as part of Public Policy Southampton. So the first project I worked on was called the National Priority Programme for Healthy Ageing with ARC Wessex. And my job was to carry out a policy synthesis which would aid the team to jump on a kind of bandwagon to aid the national rollout of some programmes that were designed to reduce elderly falls and to improve dementia care in care homes. So it was a really interesting project. It was a rapidly changing policy landscape due to COVID-19, but it was a great success, and I was also invited to then present my synthesis at a national meeting. So this project was very new to me, having come from a background in psychology and this being public health. But the main role of my job was to really synthesize information from not only academic publications, but also government publications, other grey and white literature, and charities as well, and to really just kind of summarize what's going on in that kind of environment.
My experience with public policy of Southampton has developed in 3 steps. In 2022, after engaging with policymakers and attending some training sessions, I was offered an internship in Trustworthy Autonomous Systems Hub. I was part of an amazing team, and our goal was to hold a stakeholder meeting on regulation of AI in the UK. We had policymakers all around the world. There are lawyers, engineers, economists. It was a great experience for me because I had the opportunity to see different perspectives of regulation of AI from different jurisdictions. It was an amazing experience for me to be in a room with experts in their area at policymaking on AI. To be honest, as an intern, it was a little bit intimidating for me, but so far it was my best experience. After my internship ended, I already had a taste of policymaking, and I started looking for more opportunities. In 2023, I applied to a program which jointly organized by University of Southampton Public Policy and Southampton City Council. I was given the question of how to achieve net zero in an international port city. This was an amazing opportunity for me to see the decarbonization of maritime industry from the perspective of port authorities and port cities. As part of my role, I complete a policy synthesis on how to achieve net zero in international port city. I examined case studies that are similar to Southampton, and at the end of my project, I was able to present my findings to the Council of Southampton. In 2024, I started working as a policy associate. I was given a project called Fever. Fever is a project which aims to use renewables in the UK to supply electricity to electric vehicles. As part of my role, I was given the role to complete a stakeholder analysis and prepare a policy synthesis. During my policy synthesis, I realized there are several challenges that electric cars are subject to in the UK. Part of my role, I also had an opportunity to present my findings in Southampton Science Festival. I had a chance to talk with locals and students for the future of electric cars in the UK.
So my experience in working with policymakers has come through 3 separate internships and secondments that I've been very privileged enough that PPS has facilitated and funded for me. So the first that I undertook was with a team in central government called the Open Innovation Team, who are an in-house consultancy. And I worked on a project that was about preventing the sexual abuse of special educational needs and disabled children, which, although was obviously a very emotional project, was extremely rewarding, feeling like I might be making an actual difference to the safety and lives of children in this country. So this project was what they call a deep dive, which involved a lot of desk research, interviewing academics, interviewing other experts, and synthesising all that information into a slide deck, which I presented both to the internal team and then to the client as well. I've also engaged with policymakers more locally. So last year I undertook a 5-month secondment with the Insight and Engagement team at Hampshire County Council, which was really enjoyable for me. It was an opportunity for me to use some of my skills from psychology and research in a policy setting. So I assisted with public health policy briefs, desk research. I facilitated focus groups. For example, there was a project on teen smoking, and I ran a focus group on ex-teen smokers, and it was really interesting to get the richness of that data that you wouldn't get from a survey. I also did thematic coding, data analysis, and delivered presentations both internally and externally. And thirdly, this month I just started a 9-month secondment with Southampton City Council's scrutiny team, where I will be leading their annual inquiry into gambling harms in the city. So this is a really, really exciting project, and hopefully it will lead to a published policy document at the end as well, which will be really cool. So the Policy Associate Scheme has just made me a much more well-rounded researcher. My PhD research is purely quantitative. So I do a lot of data analysis, etc., and I'm used to numbers. But all my internships and secondments have involved a lot of qualitative data collection. So it's been interviews and focus groups, etc., which has really just broadened my career options for the future and made me a better social researcher. It's also massively improved my confidence going into a career outside of academia, because before this scheme I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do after my PhD. I'd never seen a job that I could imagine myself in, and then since this scheme I've just been opened up to this world of policy that I love, and it's allowed me to combine my research skills from my PhD with also my kind of passion for the local community and wanting to actually make a difference and improve the lives of people on the South Coast.
My policy associate experience has been transformative in many ways. At first, I had a chance to see how policymaking process work in the UK and what makes a good policy. During my experience, I had an opportunity to engage with policy officers from different levels, from government to local authorities to private companies. This helps me to understand what policymakers think and how they develop solutions to policy challenges. Another skill I gained during my experience was how to transform research into impactful results. As an early academic, I consider myself to be lucky to engage with policymakers in an early stage, because this helped me to understand how policymakers think and how our research should be formatted in a way to help them to make changes. I believe this experience will help me to use my research in a more transformative way in the future. As someone from the academia, I always work individually, so I didn't have many chance to collaborate with others. So Public Policy of Southampton has provided me an area where I can collaborate, when I can work with other teams and other disciplines. My advice for PhD students who wants to engage with policymaking is to be proactive and start early. Policy making process can be daunting, and starting early will help you to immerse yourself in the process. Another advice is to learn how to make your research into more practical insights. This will help your research to be more transformable and more impactful.